Our new spy is finally here. Rohne has arrived in Trickcal, so let's talk a little bit about her, if it's worth pulling for her or not, building on what situations I would recommend pulling for her, and in my opinion, where she's going to be on the tier list. So before we start, hello the internet, welcome back to Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict, and today's topic, Rohne, the best spy. Before we start, leave a like, subscribe, having another channel, the usual stuff, right? And important as usual for every character in the game, if you were planning on pulling for her for the A club resource, in this case, is not even worth considering. Okay, like one of the worst resources I see: clay, cotton, sprinkles, absolutely nothing for our favorite spy. So on that regard, she's not worth grabbing. Now, as a character herself, however, she is actually really solid. I like her a lot. If you don't want to watch the whole video, you don't want to be wasting time here, I think I'm going to be putting her at the T1. And there is a simple reason, and is that she can act as characters like Butter, like Aya, like Erpin with the global passive, like Diana, things like that. So she will basically be acting as a buffer while she can tank really well, not as well as Vivi or Chloe, right? But I would even say she's a better tank than what Ruth can provide on most content. So how does her kit work? Why is she so good as a tank? And what's different from the Korean version? On the Korean server, she's a 2-star character, pretty much useless. But for our version, she has been buffed and is actually pretty nice. And let me lower this a little bit. I'm not sure if it's too loud. You guys let me know in the video later. There we go. So her skills are pretty simple. Also for some reference on what I've been testing on, it's a 5-star run. If you want to go check the pulls, we just finished a stream. It was absolutely disgusting the amount of pulls I had to do for a 5-star on her. It is what it is though. She is level 116. She is full rank 8, only one piece at +5. I don't care about the others for now. And she has the skills 10, 10, 10. When it comes to her board, she has a decent first board. She has crit, and she also has 1 HP right here. So I will say her first board is pretty good, and I would recommend you guys get it if you can afford it at the moment. So that's it. Her skills. How does she work? Her freshman skill is one of the biggest reasons as to why she's going to be such a good character. This increases the attack of one ally with the highest attack, and the defense of 3 allies with the highest attack. This is a 38% increase. At max level, level 12 is a 42% for 8 seconds. As long as you can put an SP item on her, she will pretty much have almost 100%. Again, it depends on what you're doing on the content, but she will have really good uptime on this and be buffing your main character. Now, for your main character, the only thing you need to worry about is putting an item on them. So let's say you have your Epica or your Erpin or your Yomi or your Elena. Just put one attack item, and on any situation they will be able to get this buff already, because once again it's not limited to personality or anything. So it's easy to direct who is getting it, right? If you don't have items, it's gonna be a little bit more iffy, but it's not a big downside, I will say. The extra defense is also pretty nice. I will say the biggest downside this skill has is that the defense will not really apply to her unless you have high investment and she can actually get enough attack on her own, right? Which as a tank most likely is not gonna really happen depending on what you're doing. But she has pretty good stats. Okay, to be fair, I also have her as a favorite character, but yeah. So that is her freshman skill, a buff. Then you have her senior skill. It first taunts enemies with the highest attack and then deals an AoE debuff that will reduce their attack. This is pretty nice because it's a 19% at level 10 and it's a 21% at level 12 attack reduction for 6 seconds. You cannot keep this at 100% uptime because of the cooldown, but it's still a really good skill for bosses. So if you're doing Elias, if you're doing Clash, and even for PvP, this is pretty good for the attack reduction, so those frontline characters or the ones you are taunting specifically are not destroying you, right? I don't think she's a fantastic character to be taunting, because she might not be able to keep herself alive, but that depends on what items you are running currently on her. And then you have her passive. This is a pretty nice passive, increases her own defense and recovers HP every second. Defense is really good at high deficit, it's better than HP, and then the HP recovery is pretty nice. The only problem with the HP recovery, even at max level, it's a 1.2, 42% increase on defense. The biggest issue with that skill is that it doesn't work with items like the Picora item. So like this item, it will not work and it will not proc this increased defense for 6 seconds. even if it's not a card, because it's her own passive, it doesn't work with that. So that's the only thing to consider with her passive, is that it doesn't work with the Picora card, but every other tank item, of course, will work with her. And we'll talk about items on a second and everything else. Her kit is pretty straightforward, but pretty good. Like I was saying, just because of this freshman skill, it means you can use her on any team, regardless of the personality, and she will be a fantastic buffer. I was using her to push a few stages on the highest difficulty, which right now I'm stuck on 27, which is like a 3 million deficit for me. And with this team, I was able to push a few stages, no problem. And she's the only tank, as you can see. Now, as the only tank, she's worse than Bibi, she's worse than Chloe. But as long as you get a few decent items, she can keep herself alive, no issue. Even better than Ruth, which is already, you know, pretty good. So not only she can tank better than Ruth, she can also buff your main DPS. Obviously, if you are running a pure Vivacious team, this doesn't matter, okay? Like, this is only applying as a general character or for your Innocent team. Innocent is still the weakest personality, even with the addition of Rohne, because Erpin is not an hyper carry. She's a sub DPS buffer, right? She's not an hyper carry. She's not like, let's say, Elena. She's not like Epica. She's not like even Yomi, if you want. So Innocent is still lacking a proper damage dealer. Hopefully soon we get one, but most likely Rohne will be debuting here at the T1. That said, let's talk a little bit about what items are good for her. There are a few items that I like. The best item by far is going to be the Leeds item. This item is such a great one. In fact, artifacts. We already moved it to T0. We'll talk about Shion's artifact on the next video, most likely for Trickcal, so in a couple days after we test more. It's a pretty good item. It's even better than the cake. So if the cake is T0, you know that the Shion item most likely will end up being here as well. I will talk about that in a few days. When it comes to Rohne herself, this is the best item you can put on her. Anything HP related, right, or defense. So let's say Bibi's silver staff. Let's say you are running something like the pauldrons, if you like the pauldrons. Something like the safety harness is pretty good. Even the healing pendant, so she can proc her buff faster, is great. Now, I am not sure if this HP heal will increase her own heal, because like I said before, for example, this Picora item is not proccing. It's not healing a target, even though she is healing herself, right? So I'm not that sure, but the SP is still pretty good. Those items are good for her. Even if you're using something like the Elven Wand, can be used for her, no problem. By the way, I have no fucking gold, my god. So those are like the best items for her. When it comes to rune cards, it depends on what you're doing, but as usual, the Alice Fakes Magic is a really good card. You could also be running the usual Vanguard card, which is great for any tank and any frontline DPS as well. And the rest of the green cards, I'm personally not a fan, so I'm not gonna be recommending any of those. Obviously, the personality cards are the best ones still, right? But yeah, anything HP will work for her. I wouldn't bother too much making her or trying to make her a DPS with, you know, attack items. The only attack item I can recommend for frontline units is the Elena's one. So for someone like Leeds, for someone like Rohne, this is not awful. It's still giving 25% HP and 20% attack, right? So it's the hybrid item you can use, no problem. But that's basically everything for this video. Do I recommend pulling for Rohne at the moment? If you are building a Innocent team, 100%. If you care about min-maxing raid damage, both Elias Frontier and also for Dimensional Clash, I would grab a copy as well. Would I pull for dupes? No, I wouldn't pull for dupes. Okay, a 3-star Rohne is more than enough. When it comes to Shion, I also make a separate video for her. Her new skin, it's absolutely goated, but the same rule applies, okay? It's an Aldin, you grab one copy and that's it. That's it. It's gonna be basically everything for this video. As usual, the website will be updated later today, and we are live every single day. Links in the description down below. Good luck with your pool dinner dates, and I'll see you on the next one.